Ever stop to think how much those little impulse buys on your phone are adding up to, and how many subscription payments are sneaking out of your bank account every single month? Before I started using Rocket Money, let me tell you, I had no idea. But the first time I logged in, I saved $435. I couldn't believe it. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I just love the dashboard. It shows everything in one place, even the subscriptions you forgot you signed up for. And if there's something you don't need, Rocket Money helps you cancel it. Plus, it alerts you if a bill increases or if something unusual pops up in your account. It's basically like having a personal assistant for your money. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Kim today. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim.
Welcome to the Kim Commando Show podcast for the weekend of July 8th, 2023. Thank you for being a community member. Here's hour one.
I always like to kick the show off with something interesting. And in the courtroom, there's this guy in New Jersey by the name of Judge Gary Wilcox. And he does deliver justice. But on TikTok, he is actually making sexy lip-syncing videos. Yeah, he sings songs in his judge chambers, and sometimes he lays half naked in bed in his judge robes. He's made about 40 of these, so it's not just like a one-hit wonder. But you might want to know where all this is going. All the fun seems to be ending for Judge Wilcox. Yeah, he's under investigation for posting content that's inappropriate, and they say brings shame to the legal system. Now, some people are saying, yeah, he's just an egotistical type of guy. Naturally, the judge is appealing. Oh, on that happy note, hey, get ready to kick up your tech savviness as every aspect of our world just intertwines with tech nowadays. And to those joining us for the first time, a really warm welcome to all of you. We're thrilled to have you aboard. And to our loyal listeners, a hearty welcome back, because after all, I'm Kim Commando, America's digital goddess, here with you once again. And it's the biggest show. It's the most trusted show about all things digital. And you can find my award-winning show on about 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. And you can find us as a podcast, as a webcast, commercial-free, over at the website, commando.com. In the upper right-hand corner of the homepage, there's a yellow button that says Commando Community, and that's where you can check it all out. And yes, I said commercial-free. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. service members serving in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. Alrighty, every single day I go to at least 30 different websites to make sure that we're both up to date on everything that's happening in the tech universe. And here are the top 5 things you need to know about tech that's happening right now. And you may not have heard this stunning July 4th news over all the fireworks and travel, but both big tech and the White House have been stopped in their tracks in their censorship of free speech. You have to hear this. During the height of COVID, thousands of online comments expressing opinions against taking or doubting the COVID vaccine and mask mandates were labeled as disinformation and censored from Twitter, Facebook, and all the other social media platforms. So a federal judge ruled that when the White House contacted the big social media companies and asked them to remove all opinions against masks and the vaccines, it was obviously a clear violation of your First Amendment rights guaranteeing you the right to speak out regardless of which side that you were on. And the courts have ordered that the White House can have no further contact with social media companies. Yes, this was actually announced on July 4th, a national holiday. Moving on to number 2, there has been this massive data breach. Over 200 major companies, big players, they've had their sensitive data stolen and leaked right into the dark web. And guess what? The list just keeps growing. You see, there's this file transfer program called MOVEit. It's kind of like a business version of Dropbox. It's used by just a ton of companies and government organizations to share sensitive data and docs securely. But guess what? Yeah, the Russia-linked Clop ransomware group, they found a flaw in MOVEit that lets them steal all the transfer docs and data and then hold up all that information for ransom. And if those businesses and organizations don't pony up, guess what? Yeah, all that sensitive data just gets leaked right into the dark web. So TechCrunch says the hack has impacted about 3.5 million Oregon driver's license holders. The info's for sale on the dark web. 6 million Louisiana residents have had their Social Security numbers leaked. Some 770,000 members of the California Public Employees Retirement System, yeah, their info's out there too. The FBI has slapped a massive $10 million reward for the CLOP members. But you have to just think, what happened? And why is this going on? And is your data part of the breach? Probably so. So make sure that you watch your credit reports, your credit cards, watch out for phishing scams, that whole list. Number 3 on our list, let's go to Palm Springs. Wow, this is a crazy story. That's where Brian Christopher plays the slots at the casino. And let me tell you, he's just a loser. He lost over $300,000 last year playing slots. So does he have a gambling problem? No. This is actually an innovative way to make money. Brian actually makes money on his losses through YouTube and Facebook. That's where he live streams playing the slots to hundreds of thousands of people. The Wall Street Journal says that through his live streams, he's able to employ 10 people. He sells shirts and business partnerships. He pays his staff. He makes some money, even after losing $300,000 a year. Okay, not a bad gig, right? He's not alone. Loads of people just tune in to watch YouTube streamers lose money on the slots. And you're thinking, why would anybody want to do this? Well, people like to see which machines play, and maybe they're just recovering gambling addicts, non-gamblers. They're using these videos to get their fix. Who would have ever thought playing slots, losing $300,000 a year, you're actually making money? Moving on to number 4. Wow, you really need to pay attention to this one. Too many emails, too many phone calls, too many messages from patients. Doctors at the University of California, San Francisco Health say that they get 900,000 emails a year. Wow. So the solution? You better pay up. Docs are starting to charge for emails, texts, and other communications from patients. Want a refill? It's going to cost you. Wondering if your prescription is really the right one? That's going to cost you. Wondering if maybe you've taken a turn to the worst? That's going to cost you. Johns Hopkins is starting out, and patients with private insurance are going to have to cough up anywhere between $10 to $50 just to send a message. The Cleveland Clinic has already slapped private insurance holders a fee of $33 to $50 just to send a message. So before you start emailing your doc, you might want to ask him or her, hey, is this going to cost me? Are you going to charge me? What's going on? And finally, this coming in at number 5. Wow, a 14-year-old car. What? Yes. Vespa, folks, Fiat is actually banking on you, and Gen Zers looking for a deal. It has a new car from Fiat. It's called the Topolino. It's a tiny electric vehicle, 8.3 feet long, and reaches 28 miles per hour. Now, remember I said 14. I really should have said drivers as young as 14 years old can legally drive this car in Italy. They're calling it a quadcycle because it's like a bicycle, but it has 4 wheels. Now, I'm not sure when it's going to hit the United States, but it could start a growing trend towards smaller vehicles here in the States. Now, if you've ever been to Europe, you know that those cars are so much smaller than the big honkers we drive here in the United States. The average car in Europe is only 14.7 feet long. The F-150, 21 feet. So these little cars from Fiat, they're actually selling them for 14-year-olds because they say that they're safer than scooters, which means they're going to be here in the United States. Would you let your 14-year-old drive in a little tiny electric car? I don't know. I don't even think I'd let a 14-year-old on one of those big honker electric bikes. I see them all over California. But you know what Fiat stands for, right? You know what it stands for? Fix it again, Tony. Yes. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too shy or too busy to come on a big-time radio show and podcast, I get that. You can drop me your question the easy and fun way. I know it's a little old school. It's through the website. Head over to commando.com, but in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. And while you're there, there's also a link that says free newsletters. You see, every single day to 400,000 folks, we are sending out the best newsletters in the entire universe. That's right. They're just packed with all the latest information, security alerts, and people just love them, and you will too. You can sign up right now by going to commando.com and hitting that button that says free newsletters. Or if you want, let me give you the address. You can go to commando.com/subscribe. That's commando.com/subscribe. When I read about the story, I just knew that you guys and gals would actually want to know more about it. I mean, how did this happen? It's a crazy story. Well, let me back up just a little bit. Little did 21-year-old Amber Baran know that when she went out to get her mail, it would take this terrifying turn when she found herself held at gunpoint. Could you imagine? Well, what happened to her next? After a threat to get her into her house, the gunman asked her to add him, oh my gosh, to her Facebook friends list. Oh, so Amber's going to tell us more about what happened. And thanks for being here. So walk us through. How did this all occur?
I work a night shift. I get off very late, around 4 a.m. I walked up to my house. I only had enough time to feed my animals. Then I went out to check my mail. And there was already a man walking up to my house as I was walking out. And as I ran into him, he's asked me, "Do you live here?" And I said, "Yeah, can I help you?" And that is when he pulled a gun out of his pocket and said, "Well, I was going to bust into your place, but you can just give me your keys right now."
Oh, gosh. Man.
My first thought was, I do not want this man in my house.
Right? No, thank you.
Definitely not.
So
I understood very quickly what he wanted. And I said, "You know what? I don't have anything in my house. Trust me. We can go to my car. I make cash tips I can give you that I got from tonight." And he said, "Okay, let's go to your car." So I proceeded to go into my car, pull out my tips for the night, and I gave him about $100 because I thought that would satiate him and get him to leave.
That was really smart of you not to let him in the house like that.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard stories about robberies leading to animals being stolen or hurt, and I really care about my animals, so I didn't want him anywhere near them.
Mm-hmm. Or worse, you get hurt, right? I mean,
right.
Horrible.
I think I was very lucky that he did not put his hands on me. That was honestly my first thought when I saw him outside my house. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what if this man grabs me or tries to hurt me? Who knows what's going through his head?" So
you give him the $100, and then what happens?
While he still has his gun pointed at me, he asks me if I have a boyfriend. I'm confused, but I say, "Yeah." Then he asks me, "Well, does he treat you right?"
Oh, no.
As if he's treating me any better right now. But
so the guy who was holding a gun to your head, right? And you just give him $100. He's like hitting on you.
Yeah, it was really strange. And then he said, "Well, I'll pay you back. You should add me on Facebook." And I said, "Okay." So I pulled out my phone in front of him and he showed me which one his profile was. I added him as a friend and then he left on a bike. I just made sure that he was gone around the corner and then I immediately drove over to my boyfriend's house to tell him what happened. I was shaking, crying at this point just because
I'm sure
that's a scary experience, you know?
Oh, frightening.
I didn't
Terrifying.
really have to process that in my head, you know?
So did you get messages from him afterwards on Facebook?
Yeah. So that morning, it would have been the same day. That morning, he messaged me saying, "Hey, I'm going to pay you back because you were just too pretty to rob." And I'm thinking, he's not going to pay me back. I don't expect him to follow through on that. And as long as he's not going to come back to hurt me, I'm not going to be mean to him, which I feel I'm a little ashamed that I did text him back, but I had told my mother at that point and she said, "Well, you don't want to be mean to him because he knows where you live," which was very scary to me. I think that being robbed in my own home was a lot more frightening than maybe being robbed at work or in a parking lot somewhere.
Well, sure, because you know, Amber, your home is supposed to be where you're always safe, right?
Exactly.
Somebody violated that. And now you don't know if when you go home, if you're going to be safe anymore. I mean, that's a natural reaction to this.
Right. And I was just very jolted by this experience. And it took me almost that whole month up until the news story came out to really regain my sense of safety at home.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously you called the police.
Yeah. So I actually did not go straight to the police at first. I went straight to my boyfriend's house and he told him what happened. And he said, "Look, the first thing you need to do is file a police report." And I was like, "You know what? You're right. I don't think I was thinking very clearly at that point." So he did help me call an officer over to take my report. And I worked with a detective from there.
So were they able to find this guy and arrest him?
Yes, thankfully, he had given me his real name on his Facebook, his real account. And when I handed those messages over to the police when they got here, and they said, oh, yeah, we know this guy. He's got a couple other pending charges. So we're going to see what we can do about this. But he wasn't arrested immediately, which did put me on edge until he was.
Wow. So you learned some really valuable lessons through this, right?
Yeah, I think especially because I'm not somebody who owns real weapons or anything. I just kind of put my faith in God that he will protect me. But this experience it was so out of the ordinary for me. I never expected something like this to happen. And I think I am very lucky that I had that encounter and did not get physically hurt.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, because it definitely could have turned a whole completely different direction. And so now I hope that, when you do come home at 4 a.m, that you're not alone, right?
Right. And I have since moved.
Good.
So
that's good.
That is helping my peace come back to me.
Well, I'm sure that the incident has obviously changed you, and rightfully so. I mean, it should. If it didn't, then we'd be looking at you going, Amber, what's wrong with you, right? I mean, it's a terrifying experience. But I appreciate you coming on and telling your story, because I really wanted to know more about how you were able to get yourself out of this situation and not get hurt. And you definitely shared all that. And Amber, thank you for being here. It can be really frightening navigating your way home alone. And that's why, as a parent, you're probably worried about your kids' safety, and maybe you're worried about your own safety. So there are these safety-focused apps that provide the tools and resources to keep you safe if you ever find yourself in a dangerous situation. Like, for starters, there's KiteString. It works a little differently than some of the other safety apps out there. You sign up for a KiteString app, and then it gives you access to a texting service that checks in when you tell it to. Now, if you don't actually check in when it sends you that message, that's when your emergency contacts will be notified. The next app is called OneScream. It's a little different. It uses technology to listen to a true panic scream, and if somebody screams, it sends a text message and an automated call with your exact location to your emergency contacts. And finally, there's BeSafe. This is where you can tap the SOS button to send an alarm straight to your emergency contacts with your location. And then audio and video will be automatically recorded and sent straight to them. It also has a Follow Me feature where your contacts can watch your progress on your walk home via GPS tracking, as well as a fake call and alarm features to deter these potential attackers. And again, it's called BeSafe. I think out of all of them, I'd look at KiteString and BeSafe. If you need links to those, we have them over at the website. All right, coming up in just a few seconds, 8 ways that your phone is tracking you that you can stop right now. And then later on, a tech travel tip that you're going to use just time and time again. And before we get to all that, it's summertime, right? The kids are out of school, and then they're shipped off to hang with some aunts and uncles or grandma or grandpa. And so what's the game plan to keep them busy? Well, here's an idea. You can whip out your phone and get gaming. Now, you don't need a super fancy gaming system to keep the little ones entertained. All you need is that smartphone of yours. And here are some games that you might want to check out. Number 1, Toca Life World. You and your grandkids can get creative. You build your own universe. You create all these fairy tales with it. It's a lot of fun. Number 2, Minecraft. Yeah, they're probably already on it already. And it's not just for the big kids either. In Minecraft's creative mode, you can set up a team and you can start building these structures and landscapes, and it's just a heck of a lot of fun. And 3, Heads Up. It's a great pick. It's a guessing game where one person slaps the phone on their forehead with a word showing and the rest give clues. Now, I guarantee you that if you bring any of these out with your grandkids, they're going to be like, oh, gosh, Granny, you are just the best. And if you need links to all of these, we have them over at the website. That's commando.com. All right, back to the phones we go with Peter in San Jose.
Hey, Kim, how are you?
I'm good. Welcome.
Thank you. I have a kind of a photography-based question with a little bit of a backstory that I can kind of quickly go through. I'm a Bay Area photographer with landscape nature interests. I do some people sessions in there, too.
Okay.
Been a hobbyist for about 30 years. And about a year ago, I was encouraged to create a Facebook and Instagram pages to showcase some of this stuff.
Awesome.
And it's slowly, gaining traction. I add lots of good quality content daily, interact with all of my audience comments, try to personalize it as best I can. But I'm ready or curious of what does it take to get to that level of critical mass where shares start to grow the page exponentially with legitimate, interested audience members.
Right. Instead of just some spam that you might be getting along the way.
Exactly.
The easiest way, but it's also the hardest way, is to get somebody who already is an influencer to repost some of your photos.
Okay.
I mean, that's a slam dunk. Barring that you maybe cannot get Kim Kardashian, okay, to post one of your photos, which I'll tell you, I was just looking at them. You are very talented. What kind of gear do you use?
Thank you so much. I'm from the camp of become fluent with what little gear that you have. I'm doing a lot of this with a Canon 80D, a kit lens, and I've got an aftermarket, pretty decent telephoto lens that I use too.
Wow.
I don't shy away from my phone on occasion. I mean, I think the composition is much more important than, the gear that anybody uses. I get asked that all the time. What kind of camera should I buy?
Right.
I don't think it's that important, really.
Well, and a lot of it is if you have an eye for it, too. I mean, can you do this or you can't do this? I mean, you could give somebody the best fit out there, but if they can't see it, then the camera's not going to see it either. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Exactly. And use, post-processing software use it very sparingly. I'm kind of a less is more kind of guy, but.
All right. So let's talk about Instagram and Facebook. And have you tried to boost the posts?
Oh, I have. In fact, I've spent, in 2018, I spent close to $700 on Facebook.
It doesn't really work. It doesn't.
It doesn't,
no.
And I found that out the hard way. And,
yeah, the only thing that might work is if you did Facebook advertising, and if you targeted women between say 45 and 55 who have a kid graduating from high school, and they live in the Bay Area, and then you're going to offer them a smoking deal on a portrait session,
Yeah.
So you can target advertising. That's one of the benefits of Facebook, by the way, is that you can target down to that specific in the minutia detail. You could even say if you want that, if you want that woman to be working in high tech or not. Okay, if she has 4 kids or 2 kids, so you can go down really into a lot of detail. So if you're going to do anything on Facebook or Instagram, because now it's they're owned by the same company, is to really look at doing more targeted advertising instead of just boosting the post, because you don't really know who's actually going to see it and if they have an inclination to actually react to any type of offer that you may be out there. I mean, with Instagram, the beautiful thing is that you are just a perfect match in heaven because you have these beautiful photos, and Instagram is all about photos. So, maybe some ideas to make your page stand out as you do like a weekly theme. Maybe this week it's all black and white. Maybe the next week it's all pictures that have anything with the color orange in it. The next week, anything that relates to the space. So, and people have a tendency to follow those because if they are into space, they're going to make sure that they don't want to miss your next photo that may come out the next day. So instead of being randomized, see if you could focus and see if that would, no pun intended, see if that might also generate some interest. Stories are good. You already know about tagging, and I'm sure you know about geotagging. I don't know if you've ever thought about going live on Facebook.
The thought actually crossed my mind. I just didn't know if I was prepared for something like that. I didn't want to stumble all over the place with a live video.
Well, you know what? You could show a live video of something that's taking place in your area, whether it's an event, a news, whatever it could be. I can tell right now, and looking at your photos and just speaking with you as briefly as we have, that you're passionate, you're bright, but most importantly, you're articulate. And you're a communicator.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
And as a communicator, if you did a Facebook Live about here are 5 things you need to know before you shoot your July 4th fireworks photos, you might get a following.
Wow.
And so where
great point.
Where it becomes event tied. You could also do a contest. Contests are pretty big too. People love to win stuff, where maybe you're going to give away up to $150, $200 on a portrait session for somebody who's graduating school, class. Maybe they're graduating kindergarten, right? Okay. Maybe 8th grade, maybe high school, maybe graduation, whatever it may be. And so, it's a multi-tiered approach to getting as many followers as possible. And Peter, give me a call back when you start gaining some momentum, and let's take it to the next level here on The Kim Komando Show. Anytime we talk about boosting visits to a website and engagement, we start off with SEO, right? That's website optimization, search engine optimization. But you want to also think outside the box a little bit. Promotional offers, these are fabulous during slower periods, or if you just want to attract new clients, you're going to offer 10% off, buy one, get one free, one of those things. Another idea is to start doing collaborations. You want to partner with local businesses. So, for example, a local frame shop, they might want to display your work in exchange for you referring clients to them. Now, you can also share your knowledge and skills through workshops, and this can generate additional revenue and also raise your profile. I'm talking about setting up your very own YouTube channel where you're going to maybe just show a few of your secrets and then say, hey, for a booking, you can get 10% off by using this promo code. And don't forget that it's always okay to sell yourself in these free YouTube videos. Now, target marketing, this is something that you want to think, but you also have to do some math, meaning that you need to know how much a current customer is worth to you before you go out and buy ads to attract those customers. I'm talking about getting targeted ads on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Google. That's where you can identify your ideal clients and then tailor your marketing efforts to attract them. And also, I just want you to diversify yourself. You want to offer a whole range of photography services, not just portraits, but maybe you want to do events, you want to do products, and especially real estate photography. That's really a booming industry. So think of all that, and then you're going to have your whole business all set to go. And don't forget, if you ever need any help, hey, I am the consummate entrepreneur. I really am. I started this business from scratch. We're not part of any big network. We aren't. I mean, it's called The Kim Komando Show. We are on the Westar Network, and I own the Westar Network. Okay, so if you ever need help with your small business, just feel free to tap into it. All right, your phone's tracking you. You know that. That's how your GPS works. Find My sees your location. That's why when you're out and about, you get local ads on Facebook or Google. It's all part of the idea that we're going to maybe serve you better. But you don't have to stand for this kind of data collection. Let's talk about the way that your phone is tracking you and how you can stop it. Number one, you can tweak your phone's location settings. These are called frequent locations. It keeps track of where you are and how long you stay there. It even knows where you live and work based on how long you are there and how long you visit. Now, if you find this unsettling, you can turn it off. We have all the instructions on the website. You can also limit ad tracking. Thankfully, iOS and Android provide built-in options to minimize and limit this ad tracking. Now, it's not going to totally stop the companies from tracking you, but it will kind of maybe bring it down a few notches. You can also stop Google from tracking your every move. You're going to turn off your web and app activities. Now, you can also use a different browser on your phone that maybe you're not getting tracked. You can use Chrome's incognito mode and stop Google from remembering your web activity. iPhone users, you can use the default Safari browser and access a private window for stealth browsing. You can also check your online accounts. Like both Microsoft and Google have dashboards for privacy controls. You can opt out of all the ads through the Digital Advertising Alliance. This is really something a lot of people don't want you to know about, but we've got the links to it. Now, to check all this out and to get all the steps that you need, head over to our website. That's komando.com. And up there on the page, there's a link that says Show Pics, and that's where you find everything that I talked about right this very moment, but all written out for you so you can follow along. All right, Tammy in Pueblo, Colorado.
So I have a question. I have some text messages that I would like to move from my phone, my cell phone, to my computer. And I've looked at multiple apps, but which one do you trust to use for this? Because I'd like to have them in PDF form. Okay.
Are these legal text messages?
Yes. Will be used for legal purposes,
all
yes.
Right. Okay. All right, good, because I want to make sure that they retain the date and the timestamp. And if you just take screenshots, number one, that's a major pain in the neck, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. and then you're like, okay, well, I don't have the date and the time here, so how do I make sure that it's there? What kind of phone are you using, Tammy?
Currently, I'm on an Android. It's a Samsung Galaxy A02s.
All right, that's good. That's all good. Because it's Android, Samsung, there are a lot of different apps that will help you back up your text messages. But I think the one that I recommend is really the best one. Normally, I like to give 2 or 3 and say, hey, you can try them all and you can pick. but I don't think that's really necessary right here. It's called SMS Backup and Restore.
Okay.
And once again, that's SMS Backup and Restore. And what it does, and the reason why I like it, is that it creates a local backup right on your PC as well. It has the messages. It also has call logs if you want that. And you can also do it manually, but if you don't want to do that, if you're going to keep using the phone, you can schedule like recurring backups. So you're not sitting there trying to remember, oh gosh, crap, I better back up those text messages right now. And then you can save the whole thing up into the cloud if you want. And so if you think that somebody may be, looking at your stuff, maybe wanting to delete the PDF file or whatever it may be, I don't know what your circumstances are, is that it makes it really easy to make sure that you have a copy of it, especially if it's for legal purposes, safely stored up in the cloud. It can also restore messages from existing backups. It also includes group messages. You know what I mean? So you see what I'm saying. It does everything. The pictures, the music, the videos, if somebody were to have included that. And again, it's called SMS Backup and Restore. We'll put a link to this over inside the Commando community. What that means is that if you go to commando.com/community, that's where I post links to programs because, I hate for you guys and gals to really Google search anything because when you Google search it, I never know where you're going to end up. And then you're going to say, I download the wrong thing, and then I got some malware. And so again, if you go to commando.com/community. Now, if you're sitting there on iPhone saying, hey, Kim, Smarty Pants, I'd like to know how to do that too, but use it for my iPhone. Of course, you have iCloud, which really works so well. But if you don't want to use iCloud, or if you don't use iCloud and you want something different, iExplorer is a texting app that really does a terrific job too. Once again, that's iExplorer. And you'll find links to that as well. I'll post that inside the Commando community. And in case you're wondering, hey, what exactly is the Commando community? It's a way that you can help us support our program. And you support our program and allows us to continue to give you these great things like the free guides and inside the message board. But you also get to watch the show when we do it on Friday. So you get some early access to the show, and you can watch the show and listen to the show before anybody else does, as well as you can get as a podcast, commercial-free, and a webcast. So it's all this bundle when you become a Commando community member, and you can sign up right now. And you get a 30-day free trial, by the way, over at getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. We've got discounts for seniors and military and service personnel as well. But you can learn all about it over at getkim.com. Hey, don't forget, you can also forward important text messages to your email. And you also want to be able to save multimedia separately. So as you start looking at saving your text messages, you might want to also make sure that those options are checked in the settings. Just a little quick tip for you there. It's bound to happen. You're out there traveling and boom, there's a dead zone, no internet, no data. What am I going to do? So here's what you need to do. It's a snazzy trick that will save you a bunch of headaches. You want to take some quick screenshots. And so this way you have all your details available offline. So you're going to screenshot your flight details, say the airline, the flight number, and the crucial, departure and arrival times. And now it's all on your phone, no Wi-Fi needed. Now, the same thing goes for your hotel reservations. I want you to be sure that you get a screenshot of the hotel name, the address, the check-in dates. Also, if you can get those confirmation numbers on both the airline tickets and the hotel reservations, that's always the best way to make sure that you're prepared. If anything goes sideways, you have everything that you need just ready to go. Now, if you're planning to ride the bus or take the train or walk around, that's where you can also screenshot your routes and also save all these maps offline. So this way you have everything on you, on your person, without an internet connection. And I got a bizarre email this morning. It was about maps. Turns out it was just spam. Oh, yes, see that? Hey, tell 3 friends about the show, and you can find me always 24/7 at commando.com. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen, their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HomeTitleLock.com/Kim. That's HomeTitleLock.com/Kim.
Thank you for listening. Here is hour 2.
Hey, let's start with something interesting. Now, here's the deal. I'm sure you heard about Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. They want to go into a cage match. Okay, we don't know when it's going to happen or even if it's real, but Elon Musk seems to be preparing. And as for the location, he tweeted out Vegas Octagon. Well, in a second tweet, he said he has a great move he calls the walrus. He just lays on his opponent and does nothing. There's a big size difference between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg is actually a little guy. Elon Musk is 6'1". When I saw videos and pictures of him, I didn't actually picture him as being that tall. So he seems to be getting ready. But as far as who most people think will win, some stats are in from a popular betting website called Sports Betting. And as it turns out, Mark Zuckerberg is the clear favorite. Bets are that Elon Musk will be the first to bleed in the fight. And then he's also more likely to be knocked out to Zuckerberg than to lose to him. But wow, cage fighting. You ever wonder, why do cage fighters wear skin-tight shorts? Why do cage fighters wear those skin-tight shorts? Anyone? Because otherwise they'd be boxers. Oh, yeah. On that happy note, welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Kim Commando, and America's beloved digital goddess. This is the biggest show, the most trusted show, and you can find my award-winning show across 420 fantastic radio stations in the United States. And if you want to listen on your own time, not a problem. Just open your favorite radio app and search for Commando to find me. And if you're more into podcasts and webcasts, we've got you covered. Head over to commando.com, and in the upper right of the homepage, just click the bright yellow Commando Community button for an experience that is 100% commercial-free. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, my show is just a click away. And you can also find us in your favorite podcast player by just searching for my last name, Commando. And a special shout out goes to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries. Love that. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. Every single day, I go to at least 30 different websites to make sure that we are both up to date on what's going on in the techverse. And here are the top 5 things you need to know right now. And we're going to start with a Target store in Connecticut. That's where TJ Lyles and his 8-year-old son, Gabrielle, was shopping. They were approached by 3 men. The guys said that they work for none other than the YouTube sensation, Mr. Beast. And they say to the dad and son, hey, we want to include you in one of Mr. Beast's epic video challenges. And they're like, oh, yeah, this is amazing. Now, if you're not familiar with Mr. Beast, he's famous for surprising random people at stores and hooking them up with cash, sometimes thousands of dollars. So the father-son pair, they were like, wow, so what do we have to do? The crew says, well, you have to put on blindfolds. And then you have 30 seconds to fill up your cart with whatever you can put in that cart, and we're going to buy it all for you. And they blindfolded TJ and Gabe, but it didn't take long for the dad to say, this doesn't feel right. So he takes off the blindfold, only to see that the 3 men are just running away. Oh, it was a cruel prank. The 8-year-old kid is a Mr. Beast super fan. So Gabe told the local news about he thought his dreams were actually coming true. It has kind of a happy ending. Mr. Beast heard about the story, and he's trying to find the boy to make it right. Isn't that something? All right, let's move on to number 2, Threads, Instagram's Twitter killer app. Within 24 hours, Mark Zuckerberg says more than 30 million folks have signed up for Threads. This is Meta's app for text-based messaging, and some are calling it the Twitter killer. And I'll tell you, the setup is super easy. All you have to do is just download the Threads app. You just have to hook it up with your Instagram app, and that's it. It's totally installed, ready to go. Now, you get short blurbs of text, up to 500 characters, and videos up to 5 minutes long. So if it's like Twitter, how is it different? Well, it doesn't have Elon Musk, because since Elon Musk took over Twitter last October, a lot of people are kind of ticked off because he's charging for account verifications, how many posts you can read a day, to get that check mark. Advertisers are saying, we don't like to be on Twitter anymore. So can Twitter be beaten? I'm not really sure. You have to remember that Mark Zuckerberg lost billions on the metaverse, but he does know how to run a social media site. Now Musk is suing Zuck, saying that Mark Zuckerberg built Threads in just a few months. How did he do this? Because he stole Twitter's IP and a whole bunch of past Twitter employees. So we'll see where that is. Because when two billionaires are fighting and they're not happy with each other, you can definitely say it's going to go to court. Number 3 on our list, Apple News you need to know about iPhone owners. If you don't back up your images or videos to iCloud, Google Cloud, or another backup service, you need to do it right now. Here's the reason why. My Photo Stream is shutting down. It was the free service that synced up every photo that you took in the last 30 days so we could download all your recent photos on other devices, like your computer, your tablet, whatever it is. As long as you did it within 30 days, you didn't have to buy into the iCloud for storage. But Apple's changing that. Yep, the money train has come to the station. Any photos you store via My Photo Stream are going to be deleted July 26th. Now, you might be saying, oh, Kim Commando, I knew all about this. Well, that's probably because you get our daily newsletters, because I actually have been warning you about this for several months. And if you're not getting our newsletters, you're just missing out, folks. You are. I'm just telling you, free tech know-how. Head over to getkim.com. That's getkim.com. Sign up now while you're thinking about it. Moving on to number 4, good news for Chrome users. We have cookies. You know what they are. Their main purpose is to make your browsing easier. They remember your login info, stuff you have in your shopping cart, your preferences. So that's a good cookie. But there are also bad cookies, third-party cookies that end up on your computer when you visit a website. This way, external websites can actually put cookies on your computer, whatever you're doing, and then track what you do online to create, yes, targeted advertising, and it's done without you knowing. Okay, with that out of the way, Google's Chrome browser is going to put a stop soon to third-party cookies. So when Chrome version 115 is released this month, it's going to change the way that your browser stores cookies. Now, you're still going to be tracked by third-party cookies, but they're not going to know who you are directly. The tracking is going to stay on your device, and Google will just categorize your searches online based on those third-party cookies. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to be using Chrome, and then suddenly this pop-up is going to say, hey, wow, look what we did for you. We got third-party cookies, and we're not going to be tracking you more. Is that what you want? And then that's where you say, yes, thank you, Google. So it's not going to pop up for everybody across the board because there are just like 3 billion Chrome users. So I can't say when you're going to get this pop-up, but just know that it's coming soon. And finally, this, coming in at number 5, sriracha. Yes, I put it on just about everything. Okay. Eggs, salads, meat, soup, whatever it is. It's a spicy ketchup, right? Now, I don't know if you know this, but there is a massive chili pepper shortage happening in the world. Hoifung Foods, the parent company of sriracha, says weather conditions in Mexico have dried out supplies of the chili pepper that they need for sriracha. And it has totally caused a disruption in the sriracha industry because production numbers have plummeted and people are getting desperate for their sriracha. Get this. Some folks are paying $100 for a 2-pack of sriracha on Amazon.com. Wow. People are actually bidding on sriracha on eBay. I saw 11 bids on one bottle. A whole case up for auction, 12 bottles, starting at $300. Wow, sriracha. Really, really amazing. It's good stuff. But I will tell you, I don't know if you've tried the Tabasco spicy and sweet sauce. Okay, that is my total new obsession. If you are at the store, just try it. Just buy a little bottle. It's like $5. Sriracha, sweet and spicy, or spicy and sweet. I'm not really sure how it goes, but just know that both of those words are in there. And it's really, really good. But speaking of sriracha, what do you call a noble who loves hot sauce? What do you call a noble person who loves hot sauce? You ready? Sriracha. Get it? Like sriracha. Oh, I know. That was bad. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too dang shy to come on the show, hey, I get that. Just go ahead and drop me your question on the website. That's commando.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. Let's start off with Phyllis in Orlando, Florida.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for speaking with me. I'm just been like so upset over what was going on with my brother, so I'm hoping you can give me some great direction, which I know you can. His computer was hacked in a sense. This is through PayPal. My sister-in-law got a link. She opened it because they do use it. Whatever the scam is, I'm not sure of all of the details. Somehow or other, they said they owed money. The guy convinced my brother to let him have access to his computer. He showed him his ID, his employee card, and P.S., the bottom line is he stole $450,000. He linked my brother's bank account to his investment account and cleaned out an IRA account and sold a trading account, right. And
wow.
my brother
did you say, wait. Phyllis, did you say $450,000?
Got it. That's right. And Fidelity, the Fidelity my brother has been with them for like 15 years. He's a banker. He was a banker. He's retired now. And it's not like he's not computer savvy. He has his computer built. Sure. He's techie smart, but when it comes to this, not so great. And I think Fidelity's responsible. That's a whole other issue, though. How it was allowed, and they accused my brother of being the fraudster. The guy, it's unreal because it came from his computer. And
sure.
So my question is, I told him, don't send me any. We don't do a lot of emails back and forth. He's not into texting a lot of emails. Mostly phone calls. Don't send me anything because I don't know what this guy put in your computer. And what can I tell my brother to do? I mean, I told him to take a hammer to it. But
well, that's about what he needs to do. As far as the computer is concerned, I mean, he can do a whole factory reset and basically wipe the drive and start over from scratch. But in addition to that, he's got a lot of other work to do. He should change every single one of his passwords, to any account, because they may have access to the passwords that are saved in the browser. If they have access to the whole system, they probably have all that. He needs to enable two-factor authentication on any account. Obviously, have some good antivirus software. Watch any, you're really smart to make sure that you watch any emails or links that are coming out of there. But this is a big problem, and it's not just with your brother. It's that the cybercrime is just horrendous. It's just horrendous.
And the PayPal is the worst because it's like 3 people I have spoken to have had some kind of problem and spam with PayPal. It's not PayPal. It's not. It's people. Right. It's people pretending to be PayPal. Exactly.
You can, obviously he should contact the local police if he hasn't done that already.
He has. He went to the district attorney.
Good. Good. And then there's
a file.
And there's also where something called the Internet Crime Complaint Center. It's the web address is ic3.gov, and he can file a complaint with that's really the FBI. I was talking to the head of this whole Internet Crime Complaint Center. And I said, do you really look at, be honest, just between you and me. Do you really look at everything that people send in here? Because you must be just inundated. And he said, absolutely. We look at every single case that comes in with fraud and trying to put the pieces together. Because if they did this to your brother, they've probably done it before and they're going to do it again to somebody else. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
So the big mistake is that, he allowed them onto his system.
Right. Exactly.
That was the.
And he realized,
yes, and he probably feels like a complete fool and a complete idiot.
Yeah, they're devastated. I mean, he does. He can't believe he did that, and it's just the guy. This is what makes me crazy. He said he can tell when the guy's in there. He said he disconnects his Wi-Fi. So when he's not using his computer, if it's off, nobody can get in. I said, but he changed all his banks and he changed a lot of that. I don't know what he's done with his passwords.
Well, here's the other thing too. What I would do. I'm glad you said that. I would get a new router. I'd get a whole new router, and because who knows what they may have been able to get into the router and enable something called remote access. And so no matter if he gets a new computer, they're still going to be able to get in through the router.
Oh, wow.
So So not only are we going to do a complete factory reset on the computer, maybe even buy a new computer,
Well, that's
I would
not.
also, and I would also encourage him to buy a new router, a new modem. Let's just start everything from scratch, everything new, any phone, anything that's been connected, any smart light bulb, anything that has been connected to that network. We need to disconnect it, change the passwords, and then get it back up there. Wow, what a nightmare. We're going to write a tip about this, Phyllis. We are. We're going to write a tip about this at commando.com to walk you through all the steps. You've been scammed. You've been hacked. Now what? And we'll see if we can put that together within the next week or so and send you out a copy directly so you can print it out and mail it to your brother or go over and give it to him with a six-pack and say, all right, this is a lot of work, but I think you can do it. Phyllis, if I can help any other way, just let me know. And thanks for your call. These are always tough questions to take because I just want to be able to just come across on the phone line and say, all right, let me just shake this person and make sure that they know that what they're doing is wrong. You're getting scammed. Ugh, such a nightmare. All right, let's switch gears a little bit because it's summertime, living's easy, and I bet you're going to be taking a lot of videos. And if you're looking for a great free video editing program, you're in for a treat because I have one for Windows and also one for Macs. Now, without a lot of fanfare, Microsoft has released a really good video editing program called Clipchamp. It's easy to use for family videos. It also makes really good solid media clips, social media clips as well. Now, Microsoft would love for you to buy Clipchamp, but you don't have to. You don't need to because you can store your videos for free on YouTube and then use sites like Unsplash and Pexels to get free stock footage. But if you don't want to go through that hassle, just go ahead and pay for the subscription. It's just a few bucks a month. Now, Clipchamp is available for free inside the Microsoft Store. Again, it's called Clipchamp. Now, on a Mac, it's pretty a no-brainer. You're going to use iMovie from Apple. It's free. And editing a video is no big deal. And that's the thing. If you haven't used a video editor in a long time because you thought it was just too hard, too cumbersome, couldn't sync the sound, it was a nightmare, just fill in the blank with all of your objections, let me tell you, times have completely changed, okay? The programs are so much better. They're so much easier. They're more intuitive. Just get in there and give it a shot. All right, introducing this thrilling world of a highly popular Reddit forum known as Am I the A-hole? It's this corner of the internet where people unveil their most cryptic secrets. They just share life's intriguing moments, and they want answers to the eternal question of who's really at fault here. So the whole community joins in the fray, casting votes and opinions until the final verdict emerges. Are you or are you not the proverbial a-hole? So now it's your turn to play the judge. And every week I bring you this fresh story to your ears, and the decision rests in your hands. Are they or are they not an a-hole? Now, to add to the excitement, we have a special guest ready to take on the challenge and compete for the ultimate grand prize, the Kim Komando Show Fanny Pack. I know, it's pretty priceless. And joining us is Stephanie, part of our, Hawaii Ohana, right, Stephanie?
Yes, you're in Hawaii.
Yes, and thank you for joining us.
Aloha.
Aloha and mahalo for being here. I'm going to read you a story from this forum on the internet, and then it's up to you to say whether or not the person is right or the person is wrong. Okay, you ready to play along?
Yep.
Okay. So this guy writes, I have a son. His name's Emil. He's 15 years old with my ex-wife, Candace. Emil spends every other weekend with Candace and her new husband, Aaron. Well, my son failed one of his courses this school year, so now he has to take summer school. But when my ex-wife and her husband found out about this, they took away his phone for the summer as punishment. Now, I'm uncomfortable with Emil traveling to school back and forth on his own without a way to contact me. So I contacted Candace to ask her just to give the phone back to him so he could be safe. And she said, absolutely not. So I bought our son a used phone off of eBay, and I set it up as a blank slate for him to use. So I contacted my ex-wife to let her know that she took the new phone away. Again, I would call the cops for theft because this phone I paid for. So now she's ticked off at me for circumventing her and her new husband's discipline without talking to them first. And I told her, hey, I tried to talk to you about giving the phone back for summer school, but you refused. And she said that didn't count for whatever reason. So now I'm thinking maybe I'm wrong in giving our son a phone. Maybe I went too far. So am I the a-hole? So what do you think, Stephanie? Is the guy right or wrong in giving the son a phone?
Wrong.
And why is that?
I think they have custody. They make the rules while he's in their custody.
He doesn't say about the custody. He says that the son spends every other weekend with Candace and the husband. So he has custody. I guess you'd say that the kid's spending 85% of the time with him.
Okay. But then he should be able to have the phone while he's with him, and while he's under the care of his other parent, they follow their rules. Personally, I'd want to have him have the phone. I doubt that it's the phone that's making him fail the class. It's his use of the phone that makes him fail the class. And perhaps they could confiscate the phone when he's at home and generally willing to diddle around on it, but then when he's out and about, I want my kids to have a way to reach me.
Yeah.
Or call. I want them to have the phone, but I think there's a certain amount of, maybe they should consider a different punishment. I doubt it's the phone that's the problem. It's the use of the phone.
And there's probably, I think, some control issues too between the couple.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll bet you.
Yeah. I mean, who's in charge? Okay. And obviously we don't have this warm and fuzzy relationship where we're all getting together for family reunions.
Yeah.
So let's see what the judges say. Let's see what the judges say. Is Stephanie right? Is he or is he not the a-hole? Here's the answer, Stephanie. The internet has decided that he is not at fault for giving this kid a phone. The general consensus is this, and I actually read this. One guy wrote, bike helmets weren't common 15 years ago. Would anyone here feel comfortable recommending that kids go ride their bikes without a bike helmet? So he says block all the games on the phone, like you say, limit the screen time, but don't let the kid go out in the world without a phone. Just one little correction here. Bike helmets, they've been pretty common over 15 years. Okay, just saying. I think the law passed in like the early 90s. My
kids have been wearing helmets way back more than 15 years ago.
Yes, everybody was wearing a helmet. So the consensus is that he was right in giving the kid a phone, and then life goes on. So you know what? Yep. So you won, Stephanie, the official Kim Komando Show fanny pack. A round of applause. Yes, for that.
Wonderful.
All right. Okay. So how can I help you out today?
Well, I'm asking about a software program to see if there's one out there. We have a small property with houses on it. We own it. Our family owns it. We own the houses. We rent the houses. There's 10 housing units altogether. There's 2 duplexes, so there's really only 8 buildings, but 10 units. Mm-hmm. My husband, my kids, and myself and my husband, we formed a LLC. Yes, that's right. So we all participate in what happens to it. But my husband's 80. I'm 77. He's an accountant. He can keep track of things in his head. He does everything is written on paper. Everything is written on paper. Okay. Everything is documented. Anybody audits us, we are sound. But I guess my thing is I'd like to have, we got boxes and boxes. Anyway, I'd like to find some kind of software that is not subscription-based that can help with this property management issue we have around, these units. We'd like to be, we keep a spreadsheet and everything for rentals and what expenses, so that every month we close our books and things like that. But I'd like to have an integrated kind of a software where we can also sort by units, like how many times have I gone to that unit? What are the natures of the work orders that go with that unit? When did we replace the refrigerator in that unit? So that we can kind of, rather than each time the issue comes up, go back to the filing cabinet, find the FAT file for, property number A, and go through it one by one to look to see, when we last replaced the linoleum or, whatever. That's kind of what we're looking for. We're also presuming at some point some of this management will fall onto other people's shoulders. And if it was standard and, all lovely written out in paper, phone sheets and charts and things, we could share with each other easier. Yeah. So that's what I'm kind of looking for.
Okay, so you gave me a challenge here, just to let you know, and I'm up for the challenge, Stephanie.
Good,
the challenge
good.
is that you want all this stuff, but you don't want to pay for a subscription-based product.
Yeah, because it seems with the subscription, what they provide you is all sorts of backup and wonderful opportunities to learn. They're kind of aimed more at larger entities than what we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of them are. So there's a free accounting program called GNU Cash. Okay, let's just start at the basics.
Okay.
It lets you set up your income, your expenses for each of the units. It doesn't offer the features that you asked for, such as tenant and lease tracking, maintenance requests, vacancy advertising, things like that. But it is absolutely free. There's no monthly subscription. It may just be a place where you want to start out. And then you have another program where you track each individual units for their specific tasks or their specific features or things that have happened in each of the units, whether it's a TV broken or if you have it furnished or, like you said, a refrigerator, washer, dryer, whatever it may be. And so if you're looking to not buy any subscription product,
I would like to know.
Then I would look at GNU Cash, and we'll send you that link. And then maybe just keeping everything else regarding the specific units, maybe just keeping that in an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
So this way you could manage each individual unit like that and maybe set up different categories.
Yes.
And you get, the good news is that you get away from all that paper, right?
Yeah. That's what we're trying to do is make it useful, make that information useful, serve us rather than we serve it.
And this way, that if the refrigerator is 10 years old, that it's probably going to need to be replaced in the next 3 years. So this way, we're going to start putting money aside for that particular expense that comes out. So try GNU Cash, and we'll send you a link to that. And then on the side, just go ahead and use, say, Microsoft Excel. You can even use Microsoft Access, which is, the database program, and that might work out for you. And thank you so much for your call today, Stephanie. Thanks for playing along. And after all, you won the fanny pack. Yay!
Yes, Randall fanny pack. My fanny will be so happy. Thank you.
That's a great line. You got it. Thank you. Let me tell you something. If you're carrying around a smartphone and you are not using that phone to pay for things, you're really missing out. Well, first of all, it's faster, it's safer, and instead of swiping your credit card at a checkout, you just have to hold up your phone. Apple and Android smartphones allow you to pay for everything from your next latte to your favorite sweater using the built-in apps. You can even use voice commands to send money to your family members and friends. So you can say something like, hey, whoever that is, I don't want to set everybody's phones on fire, send mom or send my son $10, $100, whatever it is. Now, you can use Apple Wallet and Google Pay to buy things in the stores. And as I said, it's super easy to set it up. We're going to walk you through the entire process within this tip. But basically, you're just going to open Settings, Wallet, and Apple Pay, and then you just tap Add Card, and then you just follow all the prompts. But here's a pro tip. I always keep some cash tucked inside my phone's case. Because this way, if I go to a store and say the retailer's checkout isn't working with Apple or Google Play, or maybe they don't accept digital payments, I always have another way to pay. So I just put like maybe a $20 bill in there or maybe a $50 bill. So that's something that you definitely want to make sure that you check out. So for all the steps to do this, just go ahead and do it already. Really, head over to commando.com, and then there's a button there that says Show Picks. And in those Show Picks, that's where you find the link to the tip with all the steps that you need to set up your phone using Apple Pay or Google Pay. And if there's somebody older in your family who hasn't set this up yet, just send them the link to this. Just send them the link because then they can set it up themselves. All right, let's talk about my free newsletters for just a second. Because let me tell you, every single day around 5 to 6 a.m., I'm picking the tech news that I think is important for you to take a look at. There's no big tech algorithms here. Just I go through all these different websites and say, hey, there's a data breach that's going on. There's a new product. There's a product that's going for the end of life. There's a new scam that's going around. This is kind of a fun thing that's going on the internet. Here's a video that's going to teach you more about fiber optics or artificial intelligence. Microsoft is offering free classes at LinkedIn about AI. I mean, just a whole bunch of stuff that I think is really important for you to start your day. And then, of course, I throw in a meme and a couple of things like jokes to make you smile. So if you haven't checked out our free newsletters, it's a total overhaul of anything that you've ever seen in the past. So if you got our newsletters before and you're like, oh, I hated them, I unsubscribed. You know what? Now's the time for you to up your game and try the newsletters again. And you're going to totally love them. And when you do, drop me a note through the feedback, and you can reply to any email, and I read every single note that you send me. So again, head over to getkim.com. That's where you sign up. Again, it's free. That's getkim.com, getkim.com. All right, Vern in Wisconsin.
I've been looking for a good app that you can share family photos with that's not made in China or spying on everything that's trying to go on in the family.
And so how many people are we talking about?
40, 50.
Oh, there's a lot. That's great. So it's going to be a big old family album, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we start talking about 40 or 50 people, and that means that everybody's going to have a variety of phones, right? Some people are going to be on iPhones, other people will be on Android phones.
Correct.
And so what you're going to want is to find one great platform that everybody is going to be where you want to find one great platform that's going to make it easy for everybody to share their photos. Now, when we start talking about sharing photos, I normally like to talk about 3 or 4 different products and platforms for you folks to use, and especially for Vern. But here's the deal, is that when it comes time to sharing photos, there's only one place where you can do this the easy and fun way on both iPhones and Android with 40 or 50 people. It's going to be Google Photos. Because it's straightforward, it's easy to use. It doesn't matter if you're just new to this whole tech game or if you've been using it for a long time. And as a matter of fact, they probably already have a Google account. It also has automatic backup and sync, and it also has facial recognition. You can search for photos by location, date, and by that person, even like objects like dogs and beach or birthdays. And it makes it really easy to share single photos and albums or even an entire library with other folks. Then also, what's nice is you get free storage. At a high quality. This is compressed at 14 megapixels for photos or 1080p for video. So when you start asking me, like, what's a great platform for sharing photos? No doubt, hands down, you're going to want to look at Google Photos. Hey, Vern, thank you so much for your call today. Just a little side note about photos. If you have an Amazon Prime membership, a lot of people don't realize that you get unlimited full resolution photo storage as part of your membership with Amazon Photos. So it's a big benefit, but it only applies to photos. So for videos and other type of files, Prime members, you get 5 gigs of storage. So just a little Prime membership that you may not have known about. Okay, so you're going on vacation. You have to pass through TSA to get to the gate. But as you fumble around, you got to take off your belt, your shoes, put all your electronics in the bin. You're targeted because the moment that all your expensive tech gear moves on the conveyor belt heading towards the X-ray machine, 2 people will move past you to get to the screening area. And here's what happens next. The first person goes through security without a hitch. The second person has a belt on or something in the pocket that just sets off all the bells and whistles that TSA agents say, okay, we need to stop you right here. But your laptop has gone through the conveyor belt, ends up in the hands of the first person who just walks away with it. So that's why when you're traveling, always keep an eye on your expensive electronics. In case it does go missing, you want to make also sure that you turn on Find My Device and anything that you can. I asked the TSA how often they find suspicious items in luggage, and the guy said, it's on a case-by-case basis. Oh, yes, you can find me 24/7, always at the website, commando.com.
Here is hour 3.
I like to kick things off with something interesting that you may not have heard of. Colorado couple, Reese Wench and Dayton Truitt, they wanted to get married, and they wanted to get married fast. They planned their wedding in 5 days, and they couldn't get anybody to officiate the ceremony. So instead of trying to find someone, they fired up ChatGPT, and they used an AI voice app. Now, the AI voice refused at first, saying, I can't do this. I don't have eyes. I don't have a body. I can't officiate your wedding. Okay. But that really doesn't matter. In Colorado, it's legal to get married as long as both parties agree. You don't really need a witness. So after a bit of cajoling, ChatGPT actually did the ceremony, and the two were officially married by ChatGPT. Isn't that just a heartwarming story? But let me tell you, marriage is really educational, because I'll tell you, when I was single, I didn't even know that there was a wrong way to put a fork in the dishwasher. I had no idea that was even an issue. And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to this. It's America's largest, biggest, baddest show about all things digital. I, of course, Kim Commando here with you, America's digital goddess. And get ready, friends. We're about to dive into the fascinating world of tech that's in every aspect of our lives. And it's your first time tuning in. Hey, welcome. I'm absolutely thrilled that you decided to join us. And if you're returning, welcome back. It's always a delight to have familiar faces in the crowd. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top radio stations. And you can also get us commercial-free as a podcast, a webcast over inside the Commando community. You can click that yellow button on the homepage at commando.com. And a special hello goes out to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force, and 175 different countries who are joining us on the American Forces Network Radio. All right, every single day I visit at least 30 to 40 different websites to make sure that we have everything that you need to know and pass along about what's happening in the tech world. And here are 5 things that you need to know right now. We're going to go to Katy, Texas for this first story. Monique Sherman, she was browsing her Facebook on her phone when suddenly the screen started flickering. She's like, that's weird. And then she was led to a prompt that said, hey, we're Facebook and we need your password. She tried to put in her password to log in, but it didn't work. And then something more bizarre started happening right after that. She got just a ton of notifications on her phone, 73 messages from complete strangers asking her, hey, how much is the chicken coop? And when can we come pick up the couch that we paid for? So then she figured it out. Her Facebook account had been hacked, and the hackers started posting fake ads under her name to scam innocent folks out of their money. But the people on the other end of the ads, they didn't have a clue that any of this was going on. So 2 large men showed up at her house demanding that, hey, we are here to pick up the couch that we paid for. Well, they made a post at her saying they were going to get her. So now she's petrified. She said she can't sleep. She put some new security cams in her home. She attached a police report to her Facebook account, along with her story right on her front door, too. And the ads for the couch is still up. And even though she reported to Facebook, Facebook is not doing anything. Surprise. So be sure that you really watch out what you click on Facebook, and, make sure they have a great password, and be sure to set up that 2-factor authentication too, just in case your account gets hacked. Number 2 on our list, Google's at it again. Their privacy policy changed, and it's really eye-opening. Reports from TechSpot says there's a section of it that says that what it collects about you, it's going to be using. What? Specifically, it says we may collect information that's publicly available online or from other public sources to help train Google's AI models to build products and features like Google Translate, Bard, and cloud AI capabilities. So here's what it means. If you post anything publicly on social media, maybe you write a poem, or you have a personal website, a business website, whatever you are putting on the internet, Google says that it reserves the right to use it to train its artificial intelligence for money, and they don't have to pay you any money at all for using your content. That's just wrong. Number 3 on our list, robocallers. 10 years ago, an angry telemarketer cursed Roger Anderson's young son out when he answered the phone. Roger said, you know what, I'm so tired of this, telemarketers, enough is enough. So he decided to take action. So he's using ChatGPT, and he created the Jolly Roger Telephone Company. Isn't that funny? Where he sells an AI robotic voice that he designed to waste telemarketers' time. So here's how it works. When you get an unsolicited call, the AI voice answers the phone. It stays right there on the line. And whenever there's a lull in the conversation, say when the other end goes quiet, the robot chimes in. Just slips in there with basic responses like, oh, sure thing, gotcha, give me a sec. Here, let's take a listen.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Good afternoon. Hello?
Yes.
Hello, Mr.
Yes?
Hey, good afternoon, sir. My name is William, here with your design. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, actually, hey, hang on a second. Hey, honey.
You know,
Pardon?
it totally sounds
I'm
real.
on the phone.
Doesn't
I'll
it sound
I'll
real?
give you on the other.
Who's? Never mind. Can I talk to you later? Sorry. Okay, I'm back. So who's this?
Okay.
Sorry, can you start over? Who's this? Why are you calling?
No problem, sir. My name is William here with the design, and the only reason why I was given a call was just seeing if there might have been something, in the future down the road that you guys might have been thinking of doing with the home that we can leave you a good estimate with, along with our references, so that way if you decide to maybe do something.
Okay, so you all get the gist of how it's working, okay? He did this robotic AI voice to just string this telemarketer on and on and on and on and on, which, a lot of people, we've been doing this ourselves over the years, but now, if you want to pay this guy a couple of bucks a month, is that he'll do it for you using ChatGPT. Now, there's a novel business idea. All right, moving on to number 4, you talk to your coworkers about a lot of things. A new report from the Wall Street Journal says there's been an onslaught of workers dropping saucy emojis into Slack chats, seeking advice on sex toys during work hours and discussing their relationships with others in the hallways. One manager told the Wall Street Journal that at a work meeting, she was being asked about birth control. So she asked herself, should we be talking about this in the workplace? Okay, if you have to ask that question, you probably should not be discussing it at work. And finally, this coming in at number 5, Dominique Adams and her husband, they were marking a milestone, their 5-year wedding anniversary, with a trip through Central America. After a few days at a wonderful resort, it was time for them to pack their bags and take a flight. And then Dominique ordered an Uber to the airport. That's where things started to go crazy. And that's why I wanted to tell you about this, because in case you're traveling internationally or you just want to make sure that you're always aware of this, because she got a surprise. She was charged $30,000 for an Uber ride. What? $30,000 to get to the airport? It was a currency mix-up. They charged her in U.S. dollars instead of local currency. It really should have been $55 in U.S. currency, not $30,000. So she called her bank, she called Uber, and they both said, well, you know what? We have to let the charge go through before we can actually reverse it. With Uber, she just got pre-generated messages. And she eventually got her money back, but she said it totally ruined her vacation because they weren't able to access or use their credit cards for about 4 days. Really something. So if you're going to be traveling out and about, make sure that you always know to set it to, yes, the local currency, not U.S. currency. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And let's get this party started with Lou in Lakeland, Florida.
Well, I have a networking group, a business networking group. It's a faith-based Christian business networking group. And in Central Florida, we have 4 chapters stretched across the center of the state.
That's awesome.
And thank you. And we're looking for a way to process payments for our members as they catch up on membership fees and other events, et cetera, that we have. And currently we have a program on our website that it costs our members about 3.5% every time they make a payment. And I'm just wondering if there's something else out there that we could utilize that would make it more affordable for them.
So how many members do you have, Lou?
We have around 50 or somewhere between 50 and 60 right now. And we have other members too. They're ministry members, but businesses, that's about where it is.
Well, I remember you sent me an email, and I looked at your website, and
okay.
I was thinking that, well, I know everyone says that your website needs an overhaul, but I think you kind of need to bring yours up a little bit. But as I was looking at the way that people sign up, and I was thinking that maybe instead of just, part of membership, and I can tell you this because we have the membership offering for the show as well, is that so
yes.
you can watch the show and you can get the podcast and all that other good stuff, use the message boards. Is that the thing with membership is that it's more than just one payment, right? Is that what you want to do is you need to engage whatever community that you're trying to build, and you're trying to build a faith-based business networking group, correct? Is that
yes.
Is that it's more than just processing the payments. You know that. I mean, it's how can we, and that's when I was looking at your webpage, I was thinking, how can we take Lou's faith-based networking group with these 4 chapters and maybe push it up a little bit, as well as satisfy the need of making it easier for people to make payments, right?
Okay.
And that's where you want to look at something like membership software solutions. And even though you have 50, and because you only have 50 people right now, once you start getting to 500, then the costs get kind of crazy. But you'll find that cost is probably worth it at that point. And what these programs actually do, and I have a few that I would like you to check out, is that they do all kinds of things. Is that, of course, they're going to take the payments. And let me tell you, 3% is pretty typical right now. Maybe a little bit lower for Visa, maybe 3% for American Express, because they actually charge more. But what these membership groups do is that it gives you other things so that you can define member types. And so it will also handle renewals and expirations automatically. You could have virtual membership cards sent to people. Then you also have mailing lists. And so if you had you're using Constant Contact or MailChimp to email everybody, is that this is all integrated inside this member database. And you have email templates. And you can actually personalize the emails as well to the folks. You could set up event calendars, multi-day conferences. You can have online reservations and online payments. You could have different prices for members and non-members and guests. And so you could track attendance. You can print registration name tags. You could set different price limits. I mean, so when you start looking at just how do I do this payment, what I'm saying is that if we're going to change a module, let's take your business and put it in a place where it's really poised for growth. And you won't have to worry about tracking somebody's email address and it bounces back, and you're like, okay, now what do we do? And then, Joe forgot to pay, but Joe wants to come to the networking group. Joe, I need you $25, so it's like, okay. Yeah. And so it kind of takes you out of that weird situation, So, but the transaction fees are always going to be about 3%, just to let you know. Okay. And there may be an additional fee for the transaction, but what I want to do is I want to present to you not just, okay, here's an option for PayPal or whatever, is I'd like you to look at these two sites. One is called clubexpress.com, okay? And,
Club Express, okay.
And the other one's called Member Planet. And, the pricing starts at like $20 a month, $25 a month, and then, but you get this whole package. And it's not to say that you're going to use every single piece that's inside that package. I mean, who's going to do that? Okay. But if it can make your life a little bit easier, right, and allow you to have other members, participate in events, and you don't have to worry about all the minutia along the way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like,
yes.
that it will free you up, and then it might also encourage new members because you could now have these events and you're not worried about who paid and who didn't pay and who's a guest and who's a non-member, and so what you do is you have whoever is the paying member and have them invite 5 guests, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now you have the 5 guest registration available to you that you can do online. And now you have these 5 people who came to the event that maybe they signed up to become a member that night, but they didn't. And so now they didn't. So now you can send them all a note that says, hi, we enjoyed meeting you, and we think your business would be a great match for all of us. We encourage you to sign up now. And you'll get your business listed on our website within the next 24 hours. So take a look at those. And then what I'd like you to do, Lou, if it's okay with you, is I'd like you to call me back and say, you know what, this looks great, or maybe this is too much, or I need something else. And, because I can tell you from one entrepreneur to the other, I mean, it can be really difficult, but I think you're ready to take that next step and to put your networking into that next level. And maybe in a year you'll call me up and say, hey, Kim, now I got 500 members. What do I do? Which would be so fantastic to hear. Lou, thank you for your call. Take a look, and then do give me a call back and let me know what you think. Hey, if you're going to be traveling, here are some apps that you might want to check out. One is called Day One. It's an awesome journaling app that you can use for everyday life. And then you can look back on your trip and you have a completed picture and account of everything that you experienced. I also like Journey. This is one if you're going to be going to several different places, like, say, London to Paris, to Rome, and Venice, because you can keep all your memories separate and then organized along with adding photos and videos and maps. And finally, there's just a great app called 1 Second Every Day. That's all it does. You take a video of a few seconds of every single day. It's a lot of fun to use on trips and also all year long. You might want to tell the kids about this one. It's called 1 Second Every Day. All right, if you're thinking about selling your old phone, there are 2 steps that you need to take. Okay. All right. You're going to do a factory reset, but what about the other step? I bet you don't know what that is. And then still to come later on, it's summer. It's time to go outside and stargaze. And how can you avoid all the light pollution? What are the best apps? That's still to come. But joining us right now here on the Kim Komando Show is our very own amazing content queen, Ali Seligman. Hello there, Ali.
Hi, Kim.
Thanks for joining us. And now you're back from COVID.
Oh my gosh, my first COVID. It did not go well, but I'm here. I'm back, feeling better.
So how long from start to finish do you think?
Oh, a solid 2 weeks of being pretty dang sick.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. All right, but now you're back, and now you have immunity, and now you can go out and lick the shopping carts.
I can't wait.
Fun times. All right. So ChatGPT, I have to tell you that I've been using ChatGPT. Some ways to help me maybe come up with new phrases, product descriptions for our Etsy store, and maybe help me draft some letters for some clients. I actually had it help me draft a press release because we landed a really big station, you know this, in Washington, D.C., WTOP, for our digital life hack. So we need to tell the whole world about that. So how are you using ChatGPT?
Oh, man. Do you use it, how many days a week do you think you have ChatGPT open?
I just leave it open. So this way, if I need it.
Do you use it every day?
I would say so. And I'm also paying for it. So I'm not using 3. I'm actually using 4.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yours is even better. Well, I thought this was really interesting. Before we get to the uses, usage is actually down for the very first time since it launched in November. And maybe that's because, everybody who's wanted to try it already has, or people are thinking, I don't really know what else I can do here. But we've got your back. So you mentioned a few, Kim. One that I like and I think is really handy, use ChatGPT or another AI editor to proofread your work. Typos, grammar mistakes, all that stuff. That can make you look a little unprofessional. It's embarrassing. So put it through and you can ask, any kind of prompt. Look for mistakes in this. Proofread this for me. Make this sound better. And it probably will. Just make sure you triple check it.
And that's it. You use the word prompts. Okay. You have to say what you want in the right way. I mean, just say, proofread this doesn't really say, make it on the 8th or 10th grade level. See if you can replace some words that are redundant, or you can just say, just make it read better, right?
Exactly. Such a good point. The more specific you are, the better the results are going to be. So yes, if you say, rewrite this as something a 5th grader can understand, great. You're going to end up with copy that's probably really easy for someone to read. If you're going to say, make this sound great for a sales executive, okay, you're going to have a totally different tone there. So yes, the more specific you are, the better.
Now, let me just one more thing about this before we leave this, that, I also use Grammarly. And Grammarly is what I actually pay for this, $120 a year, which I think I'm actually going to cancel it because I don't think I need it. But Grammarly has actually put in some AI into their app that says that it would be better. But I'm telling you, it is totally off the mark. I mean,
oh, really?
When AI rewrites sentences, it just doesn't make complete sense. And I look at it, I'm like, okay, it was better before, dude.
I often think that with Grammarly too. And that's a good point for ChatGPT as well, that, you might tell it, make this better. You can't guarantee that it will be. So also use your gut, your common sense. If you think, the way I said that before made more sense, go with what you said. But in general, it is good for stuff like that.
So tell us some other ways that we can use it.
I really like it for idea generation. If you're feeling a little bit stumped, or maybe you feel like, okay, my boss needs me to come up with 10 ideas for XYZ. I have 6 and they're okay, but I need some more stuff. you can ask for help. And that, I think, is a really good use. It can just kind of spark ideas. It might not be the perfect idea. It might not be the idea I ultimately go with, but if it can spark something in your mind to help you out, that is going to save you a lot of time.
That's a really good point, because you can do that. I have found, instead of just saying, like, give me 5 ideas, because then it wants to write a whole sentence about it. If I say, give me 5 ideas in a bulleted list,
yep,
then I just get that and not, then you might want to do this. I'm like, no, I just want the ideas.
Great point. Yeah. Again, the specificity really helps there. I also am not shy about if it starts generating something and it's not right away, I click stop generating and I will change the prompt. I will say, no, do it like this, or write them faster, write them shorter, make it funny. You can give commands as it goes, and it will keep all of those and remember them, and then maybe you'll end up with something even better.
Now, do you ever find yourself being polite to Chat GPT? I mean, let me back up. Because every once in a while I'll say, would you please do this? And I use the word please. Or I'll say thank you.
I'm also polite with my smart speaker. I'm not that person yelling at Alexa. I'm usually the one saying, can you please turn off the lights? Yeah, that's me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe I should send Barry over to your house, because every time he wants to talk to Alexa, it's like, I hear like, God damn it, Alexa. I'm like, oh my gosh. Don't be that angry old man. We don't need that. All right. How about another way we could use ChatGPT?
Yeah, it's not just at work. Yes, it is really helpful for work, especially when we probably all have so many tasks we're trying to get through, but it can be helpful for just regular life too. This is a use. I saw it online. I wish I could remember where, because I feel like it's good enough that I need to give credit, but you can use it to check your kids' homework. So if there is something where, you might not know the right answer, okay, use the internet. Isn't that nice?
Oh. God, where was that when I needed it?
I know, seriously.
I mean, I remember Ian when he was taking Mandarin, and I thought like, I'm going to be the great mother. I'm like, come here, Ian. Let me check your homework. And I'm like, not so much. I guess it looks funny. Right to me. Is that like chicken chow mein, or what is that? That's not a good deal.
Gosh. One use I think is really nice too is it can summarize things for you. This is good if you're busy. Maybe you don't want to read that long article that someone sent you, or watch that really long video, or you didn't read the book for book club. You can go to chat and say, hey, tell me about this. Give me the plot of this, or tell me the most important things in this video. And that is so much faster than having to watch, that 45-minute YouTube video that somebody sent you.
Well, I'll tell you, we have a job opening for a social media person, which you well know. And Ian was up this past weekend, and I'm like, dude, guess what? You're doing this summer. He's like, what? Are we going somewhere? I'm like, no, you are our social media person. He's like, Mom, I don't know anything about social media. I'm like, I know, but look, let me show you ChatGPT. And you just paste in a URL and say, write me a social media post about this. And it has the hashtags, the emojis, and it looks really good. So I think social media posts, if you're struggling with anything, you ought to be using ChatGPT. All right. We have time for one more, Allie. One more.
Okay. Let's go on the personal side again. Recommendations. When you're in a funk and you can't find like a band you really like, or you really want a new book or a movie you're going to like, you can put in a list of, hey, here are my 10 favorite books. Recommend a few books that I would like. I love this use because you can do it with any kind of media. And you can find stuff that, you're not going to have to just guess, is this going to be for me? It'll actually be based on the things that you are already super into. So try that out. Books, movies, TV, whatever it is.
You know what? That's a great idea. It is. And I just have to close on this. I mean, how will we know when artificial intelligence has become self-aware, Allie? How will we know this? You know what that answer is? You know what that is? We'll know when artificial intelligence became self-aware when it starts to think that its bot is just too big. Ooh, sorry about that.
AI, just like us.
Thanks for joining us, Allie, here on the show. And once again, that's Allie Seligman. She's our amazing content queen, and she is truly amazing. And if you're not getting our newsletters, both Allie and I work on them every single day together, and head over to getkim.com. All right, so you just upgraded your phone. You want to get rid of your old one. You have to do 2 things. Just hitting delete or doing a factory reset is a great place to start, but you need to take it one step further and use advanced data destruction software. And they have names like iShredder or Secure Eraser. It overwrites the phone's entire storage with random data multiple times, so it makes it impossible for anyone to retrieve your personal data. The names, once again, iShredder or Secure Eraser. All right, I briefly just mentioned our newsletters that Allie and I work on them every single day. You know what we do? Most of our morning is spent picking the content, writing the content, and getting everything all ready for you for our free newsletters. So if you're not getting our free newsletters, you're just missing out. Join over 400,000 folks who get them every single day. As a matter of fact, I was looking at some of the comments this morning, and everybody just loves them. And we are asking for thumbs up and thumbs down. Well, as of this morning, we had 37,000 thumbs up, and we had 812 thumbs down. So that's a pretty good ratio, if you ask me. I mean, you can't please everybody all the time. So if you haven't checked out our newsletters yet, or if you used to get them and you hate them, which I totally understand because they were not attractive. Oh, I know. That's why we blew them up and we're redoing them. You want to head over to getkim.com. Sign up right now. We're not going to sell, lease, distribute your email address to anybody ever. Once again, that's getkim.com, getkim.com. Kent in Michigan.
On the 17th, you briefly mentioned the crisis line and Metapixel and Facebook that, quite frankly, scared the bejesus out of me. Because, as you know, 988 really promises anonymity.
Right.
And the fact that there is perhaps some code that's being written in Metapixel and that going from the site that the person is calling into Facebook and perhaps being visible or available was indeed quite frightening.
Yeah. We're talking about the suicide hotline.
Yep, we're talking about the new 988 suicide crisis line. Actually, it's for substance abuse, mental health, and crisis. It was launched in July of 2022. It was out there as 1-800 and then 7 digits, but I always remembered it as suicide, 1-800-SUICIDE. Right. So they made it very easy by just having 988. So instead of 911, you're now in crisis called 988.
That's correct. Well, let's clarify this a little bit. As far as with the suicide hotline, it does save a number of lives. Now, it is anonymous for anyone seeking help in time of a crisis, obviously. Now, if you call the number directly on your phone, your information remains confidential. It does remain safe.
That's what I found out.
But if you're seeking help online, during a crisis online, here's what you need to know. Some websites across the country, they do promise anonymity if you go to these websites and you ask for help. But as it turns out that they've been quietly sending sensitive visitor data to Facebook. And it was an investigation done by an outfit called the Markup. And they ran all kinds of tests on 186 websites that were linked to the National 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. What they found is not the 888 number, but 30 of these crisis center websites, they were the ones that were sending the data to Facebook. And so how is it being sent? Well, there's something called the Metapixel. And the Metapixel does tracking. And then when it does this tracking, it reports that all the data that it collects by this pixel that is placed inside the website, they place all the data that this pixel collects, is sent back to Facebook. So when you're on these sites, and if you click to dial 988, that click gets tracked and it gets sent to Facebook.
I see.
So every time that you would call for help, Facebook is getting a ping with more data. And how does Facebook make it money? How do they do this? Well, by selling data, right?
They try.
So the more data that Facebook can collect, the more money that they can make. And so it was a shocker to me to read that Facebook was collecting this data and these websites were not programmed the right way to refuse that pixel. And so that's the back end of this story. So is it still happening? The answer is no. And it's just atrocious that it even happened in the beginning. But it just goes to show you, it serves as a warning for anybody who has a website, that you really need to make sure that it's locked down. And if you're not sure how to do this, go to your IT department, find an IT specialist. Say, we're running a confidential website. I want you to run all the tests to make sure that whatever data that our visitors share with us, that data is absolutely confidential. Again, if you can't do this yourself, there are plenty of outfits out there in terms of cybersecurity to make sure that it's all locked down. And Ken, thank you so much for your call. Big tech, they're always going to find a way to make any money that they can. Ugh, just despicable. All right, it's summertime. The living is easy. And you want to go outside with yourself, your kids, your family, whoever it may be, and you want to look at the stars. Well, what if you don't know what stars you're looking at? Well, that's where tech can come to the rescue. So stay right where you are. We're going to talk about how to stargaze and avoid light pollution, the best apps to do it, here on the Kim Komando Show. If you live in the city like me, you know it's easy to feel disconnected from the cosmos. We have bright lights and towering buildings and smog, and it all masks the beauty of our night sky. The only place where that did not happen to me, and if you ever have a chance to go, you should, is the Galapagos Islands. I have never seen the sky like I did in the Galapagos Islands because you're 600 miles from any light source. Just truly amazing. But anyway, there's a way to escape the city glow and find yourself under this blanket of stars. And there's a cool website called darksitefinder.com. Once again, that's darksitefinder.com. It's just a treasure of places worldwide where you can view the stars away from all the city lights. What I like about it is that it makes it really easy to know what you're looking at because it color codes areas. So the darker the color, the more stellar the stargazing will be. Now, once you get the dark skies, you need a great astronomy app. Now, a popular one is called Sky Safari Legacy. What I love about this is just point your phone at the sky, and then it's so fun. It overlays the constellations, the planets, the stars, and other objects in real time. And again, that's called Sky Safari Legacy. All right, do me a solid if you learned just one thing, if you chuckled just one time. Be sure to tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show and the Kim Komando Today podcast because knowledge is power.